NXT Halloween Havoc has come and gone, and the powerhouses of the brand remain largely the same. Braun Breaker and Mandy Rose retain their gold and will look forward to future challengers. Last night's edition of NXT was focused on the tag team gold. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter would face their most talented challengers to date in Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark. Malik Blade and Idris Anafi were the major underdogs in a match against NXT Tag Team Champions Pretty Deadly. Shotzi would wrestle in an NXT ring for the first time in over a year, facing the loudmouth Lash Legend, who tried to ruin her Halloween celebration. Joe Gacy would also unmask the newest member of the Schism. Following an action-packed Halloween Havoc, NXT needed to keep looking forward to a bright future for this young, talented roster. Hello, friends, and welcome to to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness. Don't adjust your audio. It is indeed I, Anthony Florio, sitting in tonight for good old MF Michael Fletcher. Unfortunately, MF is not feeling well this evening. He's under the weather. MF, don't worry about it. Get some rest. We got you. Hopefully you'll be back with us tomorrow night for College Football Thursday. But for right now, it's Anthony Florio here sitting in for MF tonight. I also got the phenom Michael Bullock here as always. And without any further ado, let's dive right on into last night's edition of NXT, which served as the fallout from Halloween Havoc. And we started it off with the battle, the first of the two big tag team championship matches. It was the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship that started this show here tonight. The champions, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, defending the titles against Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons. Originally, the winners of the match in 10 minutes and 34 seconds, and new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons. But wait, upon further review, Katana Chance pleaded her case in saying, "I was not the legal. I was not legal. I was not the legal person in the ring." And then another referee came out and confirmed it, restarted the match, and then after 2 minutes and 18 seconds after the reset, the winners and still, excuse me, the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Total time of the fall, 12 minutes and 52 seconds if you combine the two. All right. I would say this was the second best fight of the night on my end here, because we saw a dusty finish, and dusty finish is when we think we have new champions, and then all of a sudden something ends up happening, and it gets taken over. But anywho, this booking was a little too cute, distracting from the action. However, the women did what they could in this environment. It was a fun battle of popular teams that both came out looking dangerous for a future match. Chance and Carter needed to keep the titles. They have just started this reign and have plenty more to learn in the spotlight. Stark and Lyons remain important figures for NXT who will get more shots at gold soon. After the reset, Chance nearly took the win off a top rope Spanish fly to Stark, and Lyons caught Carter with a roundhouse kick and a split leg drop, but Chance broke up the pin. I'm going to give it 3.25, teetering on 3.5 for the effort. I think it was the second best fight of the night on my end, and solid match. It was going really well up until that dusty finish. I wasn't really too crazy about it, but it is what it is. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock. It looked like for a moment we were going to have new champions in Stark and Lyons. It looked like they had won the titles, but then after after another referee came out and restarted the match because of an unseen tag, the match ended up continuing. So we have and then the match gets restart and Stark and Lyons retain. So Michael Bullock, come on in, and oh boy, um, for one moment we had new champs, but unfortunately the match got restarted, and well, champs stay the champs after the restart. Total time 12:52. Oh, what a time for Dusty finish.
Yeah, like you said, this was getting so good. I mean, until that screwy finish there. I mean, yeah, you did see that. I mean, it looked like Katana Chance was the illegal competitor. So yeah, the referee had no choice but to restart it, and the champs stayed the champs. So excuse me, but you gotta feel for Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark. I mean, they were gonna be the new champions. I mean, and it would have been the first title for both of them, but unfortunately, a mistake threw that all off, and the champs took advantage, and they they are leaving still the champion. So 3 1/4, 3.5. I do agree with the rating. I mean, I could have given it maybe a much higher rating if it weren't for the finish, but it is what it is. So not much more to say except Florio. Let's move on, and you can't help but feel bad for Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons.
Well, Zoe Stark has been a tag team champion before. Don't forget that with
Oh
Io
yeah, that's right.
Shirai.
I forgot about that.
I know it's been so long since we've seen her, but anyways,
But I feel bad for Nikita Lyons. I mean, she was this
I
close to
know.
finally getting her first title, and then this happened.
Yep. It is what it is. But then we have the new North American champion Wes Lee come out. He cuts a promo, then he gets interrupted by Grayson Waller, and then they get interrupted by R-Truth. And R-Truth and Waller have a back and forth. And next week on NXT, Grayson Waller goes one-on-one with R-Truth. So yeah, okay. I'm sure if MF was here, he probably would have wanted us to address this. But with all due respect, I'm going to bypass this because I'm going to be honest with you. This is not really worth talking about. Um,
Yeah, anything that involves R-Truth is not worth talking about.
yeah. But for the most
And
part, keyword.
even if Fletch was on, I still wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, we would have said,
I just
please
simply I just simply would have told him move
move on.
on.
Yeah, move on. And but for the most part, it was a fun segment carried by the comedic timing of Truth. He has been missed in recent months, mostly working main event. No one is better at selling absurdity. It would have been nice to see more focus on Wes Lee as North American champion. Hopefully that will come. He typically is better at telling his stories in the ring rather than on the mic. So we're not even gonna waste any time on that. Um, then we had Shotzi one-on-one with Lash Legend. Shotzi wins the match, 3 minutes and 42 seconds. Yeah, we're gonna bypass this as well. Um, Once again, Legend loses. Lorraine, luckily, this was not too long because it was not good. While Shotzi is talented, she can't carry green performers and struggled to find any chemistry with Legend. Once again, Legend loses a match but remains on TV nearly weekly. It might do her some good to be taken off TV for a couple months to train and come back feeling fresh. There are plenty more women who could use that spotlight, if I'm being honest. So that was a dud. So we're just going to move on. Oh, we're going to get into this, though. Um, Well, and then there was another segment. The Creed brothers cut a promo. They got interrupted by Damon Kemp, and then uh, Sangha and Veer Mahan lay out. They laid out the Creeds. So obviously, that's probably going to lead to a future match with the Creeds and Sangha and Veer Mahan. So we're just going to bypass that. Um, But we are most certainly going to get into this. It was the other NXT Tag Team Championship match. This one for the men's tag team titles. The champions, Pretty Deadly, Kit Wilson, and Elton Prince, defending against Idris Sanofi and Malik Blade. Winners of the match, 12 minutes and 29 seconds. And still, the NXT Tag Team Champions. It was Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly surviving, escaping by the skin of their teeth here. Michael Bullock, what a tag team title match. And you could easily make an argument that this should have been the main event. But then again, the main event we got, I can understand why they went with it. But nonetheless, Bullock, what a tag team title match here.
Yeah, what was the time?
12 minutes and 29 seconds.
Yeah, this was definitely one heck of a match here. Yeah, they definitely gave Pretty Deadly a run for their money here, but in the end, it was too soon to take the titles off of Pretty Deadly, but they gave them one hell of an effort. But yeah, you can make an argument that this definitely should have been the main event, but with what we got at the end of the show, you can definitely understand why. But it is what it is. So I'll give this 3.5 stars. So it's yours, Florio.
3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. You could very easily make an argument for this to be the fight of the night, and that it should have been the main event especially on when they were hyping the show as a tag team title Tuesday. It was a great spot to put over Blade and Anafi, who looked like real challengers in this moment. The crowd were fully behind the challengers, who could very well have worked their way into a future title run. For now, Pretty Deadly continue to put on shows every week to keep this tag team division hot. Anafi hyped up Blade ahead of their title match. Pretty Deadly did not sound too worried about their underdog opponents just before heading to the ring. Anafi and Blade cleared the ring against Pretty Deadly multiple times, which phased the champions and forced them to answer back. Blade pulled off a Montez Ford style tope con hilo over the steel post. And what else is there to say on that? What a fantastic match this was. 3.5, 3 3/4 of a star. Unbelievable match. Great matchup here. All right. And then from there, the Schism, Joe Gacy and crew. Joe Gacy, Jagger Reed, Rip Fowler. And there was that unnamed masked individual. And we were like, okay, who is this guy? And then we were like, wait a minute here. It can't be a guy because it's built more like a woman. And yes, and who ended it up being? Ava Raine. But we best know her as Simone Johnson, the daughter of The Rock. That's The Rock's daughter, folks. That's Simone Johnson. She's now known as Ava Raine, and she is now the newest member of the Schism. Well, color me surprised. Sometimes all a stable needs is a fresh member, and the inclusion of Ava Raine makes this group far more interesting. She is a young talent whom WWE is invested in pushing as far as she can go as The Rock's eldest daughter. If she is ready to perform, she can add a fresh face to the women's division while helping keep the odds firmly in Joe Gacy's favor when he needs it. The Schism has a solid upside now, but they still have not done enough to stand out. So that's all I can say. I could honestly say by default this was the segment of the night. And Michael Bullock, wow, what an upgrade for the Schism. They just got The Rock's daughter, Simone Johnson, Ava Raine.
And the thing is, Florio, we knew that it was only a matter of time before we saw her on NXT, and last night was the case, and she's going to be Ava Raine, and now part of the Schism. Hopefully it'll inject something into this, because I'll be quite honest with you, Florio. This group hasn't impressed me for 1 second.
Me neither.
Maybe Ava Raine could give them something that they need, but we'll wait and see how that goes. And I know somewhere out there, The Rock must have been one proud father to see his daughter finally on WWE TV, and I mean, I think it's going to be about a year or two before we see her on the main roster. So because she's got that potential. I mean, her father is The Rock for gosh sakes. So we'll see what happens, but I mean, it was good to finally see her. So, like I said, this hopefully this will definitely help the Schism some because, like I said, as of right now, I haven't been impressed at all with this group. So, and I still say, Florio, and I don't know if you'll agree with me on it. They should have kept uh, they should have kept them as the grizzled young veterans. I mean, they were
Oh,
so
absolutely,
over.
absolutely.
They were so over. I mean, why did you had to make them as this weird group? Obviously, this was under McMagma, who literally
Absolutely.
killed them.
And
I mean,
Blubber Love too.
If Shawn Michaels and Triple H were smart, which we know they are, they need to scrap them and turn them back to the grizzled young veterans
Here, here.
because they were one of the main tag teams of NXT, and I was hoping that they would get some kind of momentum. But as soon as they turned them into this as part of this group, it literally just destroyed their momentum. So, so memo to Triple H and Shawn Michaels: get rid of of what they are now and turn them back to the grizzled young veterans. You do that, that's going to be another major coup for that NXT Tag Teams division. So that's just my little gripe I have. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, Bullock, we're going to move on. We got another cutout here. Indy Hartwell versus Sol Ruca. Indy Hartwell wins the match in 1 minute and 19 seconds. And yeah, um, this was the worst fight of the night. This was another dud, but this was an absolute dud. But I will say it was a pleasant surprise to see Hartwell win here after some rough months. But not much was accomplished in this segment. Ruka got squashed with no offense, and Hartwell did not show whether she was turning heel or just working more aggressively. And the win was also hurt by the return of Electro Lopez, who took away from Hartwell's spotlight. And while it is nice to see La Madrina is still working after Legado del Fantasma replaced her with Zelina Vega over on SmackDown, she has a lot of work to do in order to come off as a big deal. So that's really all there is to say on that. So with that, we get into the main event of the evening, which was Ilya Dragunov squaring off against JD McDonough. And JD McDonough wins the match 9 minutes and 50 seconds via a referee stoppage. Um, yeah. Michael Bullock, main event. Dragunov and McDonough. McDonough wins 9:58 referee stoppage.
Yeah, and obviously, Florio, something happened with Ilya Dragunov. Must have been maybe that hold that McDonough had that literally caused some bleeding. So, I mean, you hate to see a match like that have to be stopped like that, but hopefully Ilya Dragunov is going to be okay. So I haven't heard any updates on his condition, but we'll wait and see on that. So because the match, I mean, yes, JD McDonough won via referee stoppage. I can only give this 2.5 stars. I mean, if it was a clean win, I could have given it a much higher rating, but because of this referee stoppage, I have to lower it to 2.5. So that's all I can say. It's yours, Florio.
I'm gonna be a little more generous. I'm gonna give it a 3-star rating here. Um, Ilya Dragunov's kayfabe rib injury slowed this match down to start, with little time left afterward to put on the classic these two are capable of delivering. However, the story was very well told. Finally, the Necessary Evil came off as the ruthless villain he has played himself up to be, sending Dragunov to the hospital. It would have been helpful to do this before the matches with Braun Breaker to sell how dangerous McDonough can be. Hopefully, more of this is to come in his presentation if he is going to come off as a top threat in NXT. Dragunov's ribs gave out on him as he spun through the ropes, and officials had to come down to check on the Tsar. Once he was cleared, McDonough focused heavily on the injury with his offense. The Tsar caught the Necessary Evil with an enziguri and diving knee drop before attempting a diving senton, but he landed on McDonough's knees. And Dragunov hit a superplex and a running low forearm, but he was slow to react due to his injuries and could not get the pinfall. So this was a solid 3.25 star match. I could probably say third best fight of the night. So with that overall review of last night's show, solid reset show, if I'm going to be honest with you. I'll give it about 7, maybe even 7.5. I mean, last night's NXT was a solid reset show, and it focused more on character development as opposed to showcasing matches. Character development is always welcome, and last night's show did a good job at that. The only thing that continues to bring the shows down for myself and for Bullock is the schism. But we are intrigued at what they plan to do now that Simone Johnson is a part of the group. Tag team division looks pretty good too, with the return of Indus, and I'm really intrigued in Veer being the devil that's speaking in the ear of the saint like Sangha. So, couple of good development segments here, and we had 3 quality matches. Both tag team title matches delivered, but the men's tag team title match was the fight of the night. That was a 3.5 to 3.75 star match. The women's tag titles right behind, and then the main event, and then the usual stuff in the middle. But a solid reset show though. And then that intriguing segment with Simone Johnson debuting. So 7, teetering on 7.5. Michael Bullock, your thoughts on NXT last night, and then we'll get into AEW Dynamite.
Yeah, I'll give this about maybe 7.5. I mean, I thought it was a good show. Not great, but I thought it was good enough for it to be a passable show. And I mean, you had some good matches. I mean, obviously, you also had some bad matches, but the one thing that continues to kill NXT, and I'm with you, Florio, is the schism, especially Joe Gacy. Because, I mean, Florio, I made this loud and clear to you. I'm not a big fan of Joe Gacy because I
I'm not
feel like
either.
he's killing NXT. So Triple H and Shawn Michaels, to me, I mean, if you're smart, either bring him up to the main roster for some reason, or just simply cut ties with him. And if you're smart, I think you should cut ties with him because he ain't doing anything for you guys. So I know it's me being very critical, but you know what? I don't give a damn. That's just my opinion of him. So in the immortal words of our former friend here, F you, Joe Gacy. So, because you're killing NXT.
All right. So with that, let's move on
Well,
now
go
to.
screw yourself, Joe Gacy, you piece of you know what.
All right. Let's get going here. We got to move on. AEW Dynamite live, of course, from the Chartway Arena in Norfolk, Virginia, exclusively on TBS as always. And set this up. Jon Moxley promised to be a fighting AEW World Champion, and to this point has lived up to that promise. Tonight, he again proved his willingness to defend against anyone, anywhere, as he squared off with the Lucha Bros, Penta El Zero Miedo, in a star-studded main event. That match headlined a broadcast that also saw Ring of Honor World and Pure Champions Chris Jericho and Daniel Garcia in action, as well as the in-ring return of the inaugural AEW Women's Champion Riho, who emerged from the show with momentum on their side as AEW set its sights on its upcoming Full Gear pay-per-view on Saturday night, November the 19th. Find out with this recap of tonight's show. And we started it off with that tag team matchup. Chris Jericho and Daniel Garcia squaring off against Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli. Winners of the match in 11 minutes and 3 seconds. Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. Claudio Castagnoli pinned Chris Jericho to win the match for his team. So you got to believe there's going to be a championship committee moment coming out of that. The match was a solid, unspectacular tag team match that strangely put Yuta in a position to receive the hot tag before Castagnoli did all the work en route to the clean pinfall victory over the Ocho. Castagnoli is the guy Jericho defeated to win the title last month at AEW Grand Slam, so it is somewhat interesting to see Tony Khan and the creative team going that route for a potential next opponent. Still, the match was fine, but considering the wealth of talent that goes underutilized every week, would it kill those in power to reconsider devoting the first 23 minutes of the show to Jericho and his Appreciation Society? Tony Schiavone on commentary questioned why Jericho had Floyd the Bat with him. Self-preservation, Excalibur answered. Shoot comments that aren't meant to be shoot comments are the best. Castagnoli made the hot tag to Yuta following the commercial break, an odd choice considering there is no chance in hell he brings the fire that Claudio would have in that same spot. And Jericho attempted to use a baseball bat, but Castagnoli cut him off. From there, Garcia jumped on his shoulders and the Swiss Superman delivered the legendary Cesaro swing as we best remember it. I'll give this about 3.25 stars for the effort. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, Castagnoli and Yuta win the match, 11 minutes and 3 seconds. Castagnoli pins the champ. Could that be a possible championship committee moment? Could that put Cesaro in line for a chance to regain the Ring of Honor World title that he lost to Jericho last month as part of Grand Slam?
I could definitely see that. Because nobody was a more deserving champion than Claudio Castagnoli. Because he finally won a world title, especially after the way he was underutilized in WWE. And Florio, I need to correct you. It wasn't just the Cesaro swing. It was, come on, we got to do it the old right way. It's the
Cesaro swing. Shout out to MF.
Yeah. Yeah, and to do that, of course, with Daniel Garcia on top of him, it shows you why he is so strong. And for him to get the pinfall, definitely give him an opportunity to where it could be he could be next in line for Chris Jericho's Ring of Honor World title. But yeah, so nice win for Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli, even with all the interference from the Jericho Appreciation Society, especially Jake Hager and those two Hammond-Hager jabronis 2.0. But then again, Florio, the entire Jericho Appreciation Society are Hammond-Hager jabronis.
Here, here.
It's yours, Florio.
All right.
Oh, by the way, it was a 3.25 star match for me.
Yeah, and I said you may have heard me say shout out to MF because whenever MF did commentary and he saw that Cesaro swing, he would always say the Cesaro swing. Oh yeah, that was for MF. So MF, I hope you heard that. Hopefully that made you feel a little better on that one. So all right, let's move on. We had the big tag team #1 contenders match, as it was FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood squaring off against Swerve in Our Glory, Keith Lee, and Swerve Strickland. The winning team becomes the #1 challengers to the Acclaimed in the AEW World Tag Team Championships. And the winners of the match, 14 minutes and 34 seconds, Swerve in Our Glory. Swerve in Our Glory win the match. They steal it. Swerve cheated with a low blow near the end of it. And that pretty much opened. And then the Gun Club, dressed up as the Revival, trying to mock the Revival. They held back, or I should say FTR rather, held back Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood got caught in Keith Lee's Big Bang Catastrophe 1, 2, 3 and Swerve in Our Glory. get their rematch for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on all this as Swerve in Our Glory win the match 14 minutes and 34 seconds, and then all hell broke loose after the match. Gun Club got involved. The champions, the Acclaim, got involved. Yes, Swerve in Our Glory won, but why do I have a strange feeling they're going to end up making this a four-way at Full Gear?
I got this funny feeling. I think it could be that, but I'm going to be quite honest with you, Florio, and I don't know if you'll agree with me on this. I mean, this was a good match, but in my humble opinion, the wrong team won here. I mean, look, Swerve in Our Glory already had their opportunity, and now they get another chance at it. I mean, to me, FTR, yes, they've held all the other tag team gold, but there is one they've yet to hold, and that is the AEW World Tag Team titles.
Well, they've been the champions before, but they lost to the Young Bucks at Full Gear 2020.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I want to see them at least get another run with it. But that's just my personal opinion. So as far as this match goes, 3.5 stars for me. I could have given it 3 3/4, but the low blow and all the other craziness took some away from it, but not really all that much. So 3.5 for me. Florio, it is yours. Like I said, good match, but to me, the wrong team won.
Agreed. A match with tons of promise proved to be very good, as expected from the four guys involved, but it suffered late from some timing issues that dragged down the quality ever so slightly. The involvement of the Gun Club, who subdued Wheeler and allowed Swerve in Our Glory to steal the win over Harwood, did not help matters. FTR continues to be shut out of the AEW tag title picture to the point that it diminishes the legitimacy of those titles. Anytime a team dominates across promotions like FTR has, keeping them away from your titles for whatever reason devalues the championship and creates questions about backstage politics. Some will point out that this frees them up to feud with the Gun Club, but if you are weighing the allure of the AEW tag titles and the idea of feuding with the second generation heels, you are most definitely reaching. The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn sat at the top of the entrance ramp to watch FTR battle Strickland and Lee for a shot at their titles. The Gun Club watched from ringside, dressed up as FTR. FTR delivered the big rig to Keith Lee, but a perfectly timed last gas save by Strickland saved the match for the heels, at least for the time being. But I could have gone higher with the rating as well, but it was a 3.5-star match. I 100% agree. It's one of the fights of the night, though, no question. Then we had a interview segment, a very interesting one to say the very least, as MJF was being interviewed by Renee Paquette, who, as we all know, is the wife of AEW World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley. And I got to tell you, that was a fun little interview segment there. I mean, wow. Another week, another banger promo by MJF. I mean, the promo was full of genuine emotion and disingenuine crowd interaction that has defined MJF since his comeback, and it was fantastic. The Salt of the Earth is the best thing about AEW right now, and his journey to the World Heavyweight Championship has been the most captivating story on the show by far. His interactions with Renee Paquette were fun, and the chip he referenced is undeniably real and sizable. It is likely all of the pandering he is doing will lead to some could lead to some massive screw job come Full Gear, but regardless of how that turns out, AEW would be foolish not to run with MJF as World Heavyweight Champion as soon as humanly possible. And then he said, "Whoa, Renee, don't hurt yourself. I got this from here," MJF said, dismissing her. And he said, "Max," and then Renee said, "Max, you can't just say with all due respect and then say something insulting like that." And then he said, "Renee, with all due respect, shut your mouth." And then MJF said, "I promise I will not use my Dynamite Diamond ring," in response to William Regal's suggestion a week ago that he cannot win without it. And MJF also said, "I am fighting every single sorry scumbag who ever told me I wasn't good enough. And I am going to take this heavy chip off my shoulder and shove it down every single one of their throats." And then MJF told Stokely Hathaway not to touch, even look at Moxley, and the Blackpool Combat Club because he needs the AEW World Champion at his best. Fantastic segment, to say the very least. So with that, we continue on, and we had the match between Bryan Danielson and Sammy Guevara. Winner of the match in 15 minutes and 9 seconds. Bryan Danielson wins the match. Let me see. The future Hall of Famer brutalized Guevara, stomping him across the chest, neck, and face. Oh, no, I didn't mean to get there. Guevara controlled the pace for the majority of the match, but his hubris proved his downfall as the mid-match mockery of Danielson's trademark chest kicks fired the babyface up and led to a come-from-behind win. And then Bryan brutalized Guevara, stomping him across the chest, neck, and face before trapping him in the triangle. Few forearms at the top of the head led to a referee stoppage as the Spanish guy was unable to answer. This got Danielson back on track with a quality win, but the commentary team made it very obvious that his creative, at least for the foreseeable future, is tied to Wheeler Yuta and the infighting that currently exists within the Blackpool Combat Club. Fans should probably expect Danielson to once again embrace his heel side and not be surprised if and when he departs a group amid a feud with the young Philadelphian. Guevara uncorked a springboard moonsault to wipe Danielson out on the floor heading into the commercial break. The Spanish God mocked Danielson's trademark kicks to the chest, firing the American Dragon up and sparking a babyface comeback. Guevara ducked a Danielson kick and caught him in mid-sprint with a standing Spanish fly. And Danielson delivered a reverse Rana to set up the Busaiku knee. So, this was a very good match. You could certainly make an argument for Fight of the Night honors here. I could give this about 3 3/4 to 4 stars for the effort. Great match between two wonderful talents, and that's really all there is to say on that. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts as Bryan Danielson defeats Sammy Guevara in 15 minutes and 9 seconds in a great match.
Yeah, it was definitely a great match. 3 3/4 to 4 stars. I mean, it's definitely one of the top fights of the night. But then again, when you got two combatants like Bryan Danielson and Sammy Guevara, you could expect something good here. I mean, so now the question is, Florida, what's up next for Danielson? I mean, hopefully things can get better with the Blackpool Combat Club, but we'll wait and see what happens here. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on.
All right, Bullock, you'll be leading. I was going to say keep your mic on because you're leading off on the next match. Riho. It was Riho versus Jamie Hayter. Of course, Jamie Hayter had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Rebel in her corner. And the winner of the match, 10 minutes and 20 seconds, Jamie Hayter. Michael Bullock, Jamie Hayter picking up the biggest win of her young AEW career, defeating the inaugural AEW Women's Champion. And then Toni Storm comes out. Could Jamie Hayter possibly be next in line for Toni Storm in the interim AEW Women's Championship? Looking like it.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like it, but again, Florio, I mean, for the second time on this review, a good match here, but once again, and I don't know how you feel about it, the wrong person went over because look, Riho just came back from a long absence, and I'm thinking, yeah, Rio's going to get one over on Jamie Hayter, but they went with this. I mean, I understand you're doing it to make maybe Jamie Hayter is next in line for the AEW Interim Women's World Title, but if it was against somebody else, okay, fine, whatever. I'm not going to complain about it, but against Riho in her first match back in a long time, no. That's just how I personally feel. So, 2.5 for the effort. Again, Florio, I don't know how you feel. Good match, but wrong person went over.
It's an agree to disagree. This was an interesting booking decision in that Riho just returned to television last week and already lost here. Is Jamie Hayter the most over woman on the show right now? I got to be honest with you. Absolutely. And she needs wins like this to boost her profile in the division. But to do so at the expense of Riho felt unnecessary when there were other women who could have eaten the fall without losing momentum or credibility. With that said, the inevitable match between Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter will be damn good, but AEW better be prepared for the babyface champ to be booed because the company's faithful are clearly behind Hayter, finally getting a chance to run with the gold. Rio dove off the top rope, wiping Hayter, Baker, and Rebel out at ringside ahead of the break. After several minutes of dominance from Hayter, Rio stuck a double stomp that turned the tide in her favor. Baker grabbed Riho for the second time in the match, giving Hayter enough time to recover in the corner and halt the charging former champ. Rio still countered into a code red for a 2 count, and Hayter obliterated Riho with a ripcord lariat for the win. This was a 3 to 3.25 star match, so not much more to say here, except I believe we move on to the main event of the evening, which was the big match for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Jon Moxley, defending against Penta El Zero Miedo. Winner of the match, 13 minutes and 3 seconds, and still the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. It is Jon Moxley, and to the surprise of none of us. This match between Moxley and Penta was very good. Their chemistry is undeniable, and late contest submission trading was a nice touch. The challenger might be the most underrated wrestler in all of AEW, and considering his stature on the show since day one, that is quite the statement. He is a world champion caliber performer, but faces a logjam at the top of the card that makes that unlikely. The stuff with Stokely Hathaway and company in the Firm to end the show, which saw them ultimately drive MJF through the timekeeper's table, feels forced and unnecessary. MJF and Moxley were doing a fine job of telling the story without having to shoehorn the Firm into it. Yes, this likely leads to the revelation that it was all one big sham and that MJF was still working with his friends to deceive the wrestling world, but it still feels largely unneeded. Moxley pulled from Blackpool Combat Club teammate Bryan Danielson's arsenal, applying a label lock to his opponent before transitioning into the Bulldog headlock. Penta released the clasp on his mask to help with the escape from the headlock, and the challenger delivered Fear Factor for a near fall as the commentary team put over the possible title switch. But this was a very good match. I'm going to give it 3.25 to 3.5 for the effort. Another one of the top fights of the night for sure. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, outcome never in doubt. We knew Moxley was going to retain the title, but what happened afterwards with the Firm and MJF getting in their face and then the Firm turning on MJF. Wow.
Yeah, 3.25, 3.5. Another one of the top fights of the night. I mean, the outcome was never in doubt. Moxley retaining the title. Then you had the whole Firm, and then of course MJF. I mean, basically fired Stokely Hathaway, and Hathaway is like, "You want to fire me, Firm? Get him!" And that's what they did. They got MJF and drove him through the table. So, and I'm with you, Florio. I mean, the Firm doing this, I mean, was completely unnecessary because you're literally killing the momentum of both Jon Moxley and MJF when it should be about these two. I mean, to me, Florio, it should be these two that should have closed the show, not the Firm standing over and beating them up. That to me, Florio, I think is a questionable booking decision by Tony Khan. I mean, that's just my personal opinion on it. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
All right, Bullock, you lead off with the overall review of AEW Dynamite. Another very good show. I didn't see one bad match tonight. Did you?
I didn't see one bad match at all. I mean, everything else was solid to good to even great here. So, I mean, and because of that, I'm going to give this about maybe an 8 out of 10. I mean, I thought this was a really good show. I mean, yeah, there were some things I thought could have been better and some questionable booking decisions by Tony Khan, but other than that, I mean, it was another really good show. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah. What did you give it, Bullock? I got a little sidetracked.
I gave it 8 out of 10. I could have given it higher, but because of some of the questionable booking decisions here, I had to give it an 8.
Yeah, that's about right. All the matches were solid to good to great. I think Danielson and Guevara was the fight of the night by a smidge. Um, we had some other good matches. I'd say second best fight was FTR and Swerve in Our Glory. Main event rounds out the top three. You had a solid opening tag match and solid women's match, one of the better women's matches we've had in a bit. And that's all there is to say on that. So I agree with Bullock's rating, 8 out of 10 for me. One last order of business tonight, and that is Thursday Night Football. That is going down tomorrow night on Amazon Prime Video. I'll set up the local stuff in just a moment. Um, Thursday Night Football tomorrow night, and we got another good one here. Star-studded matchup here. We got the Baltimore Ravens squaring off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, on Amazon Prime Video. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Kaylee Hartung, as always. Tampa Bay opening up as a 1-point favorite in this one. And just bear with me for a moment as I have a set of notes I'm trying to load here. All right. Tampa Bay is opening up as a 1-point favorite, and the series history between these two, it favors the Baltimore Ravens. Interestingly enough, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the first two meetings between these two teams, but the Baltimore Ravens have won the last four meetings in a row. Their last meeting was 2018 in Baltimore. Baltimore won 20-12. Last meeting in Tampa was 2014. Baltimore absolutely whitewashed Tampa Bay, 48-17. Tampa Bay has not beaten the Ravens since 2002. That was in Baltimore, 25-0. The only time the Buccaneers ever beat the Ravens at home was their very first meeting back in 2001. That was a 22-10 final. So just wanted to let you know all about that. Now, for those of you in the Baltimore and Tampa areas who and for those and yeah, only for those in Baltimore and Tampa who who may not have Amazon Prime Video. For you wonderful folks in Baltimore, you can watch this game tomorrow night on WMAR ABC 2. That's WMAR ABC 2 in Baltimore. For the people of Tampa Bay, you can watch the game on your Tampa affiliate, which is WTVT Fox 13. Once again, WTVT Fox 13 in Tampa, Florida. So just wanted to address that real quick. So, all right. Just give me a moment here while this loads. All right. The Ravens defense has started to play better overall. They are running the ball effectively to support Lamar Jackson, whose production has dropped off as of late. The Bucs' only advantage here is playing at home, given the way the once reliable passing game and run defense has performed. Tom Brady is still looking for a get-well game, but I believe Baltimore is the wrong opponent for that. So I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens to win this game. My final score, 20-17. The Baltimore Ravens defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, steal one in Tampa, make it 5 in a row against the Bucs tomorrow night. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, come on in, take it home. Baltimore Ravens, Tampa Bay Buccaneers tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football. Should be a good one.
Yeah, it definitely should be a good one here with the Bucs and the Ravens. I mean, Tom Brady and the Bucs are definitely looking for that get well game, but I don't see it happening here with this Baltimore Ravens team. I think the Lamar Jackson's going to have himself a really good game here. I think that that defense is going to make it very tough on Brady. So I'm with you, Florio. I got the Baltimore Ravens winning this one as well. So nothing more to say except let's put a ball on this edition of Wednesday Night Madness.
And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. We are indeed going to put the bow on this edition of Wednesday Night Madness. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in, as always. We'll be back with you again tomorrow night, right back here on the Tone 25. Hopefully, we'll be back tomorrow night for another edition, the Week 9 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. 16 total game. Well, there's 18 games overall, but 2 of the games are being played tomorrow night. We have two games that will be in progress tomorrow night, and we'll keep an eye on those games. In addition, we'll preview the 16 other games that will have the 16 remaining games that will take place on Saturday. The headline game, obviously, Ohio State and Penn State. Got some other good ones in there as well. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party, Florida and Georgia, and the sleeper game of the week, Notre Dame and Syracuse. So we'll get into all that tomorrow night. Hopefully, we'll have a show tomorrow night because we've had to cancel. We had to cancel last week's show. Hopefully, that will not be the case tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. 10:30 tomorrow night, and then Friday night, 11 p.m. immediately following AEW Rampage over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95. It will be the Cerebral Smack Talk, as we will have Friday night SmackDown, AEW Rampage, and in the Mikey's Mindset, MF will give us the results of the RWA Devils Night that went down last Saturday night, the show that he attended. So we'll get all that from him. And then Saturday night, 10:30 here on the Tone 25, the Week 8 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Saturday, as we will recap the Ravens Buccaneers Thursday night game and preview the 14 remaining games of week number 8. And then from there, we do it all again. Monday night with Ridiculously Raw. Monday Night Raw, the go-home show for Crown Jewel, as well as my latest Tony's Take on Impact Wrestling and NXT Level Up. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the week 9 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday, Anthony Florio here for the Phenom Michael Bullock. And in spirit, special shout out to good old MF Michael Fletcher. Get better soon, brother. We hope to have you back with us tomorrow night. And of course, our other shout out, of course, as always, always and forever, the first lady of this show, the Twisted Angel, Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Thursday, and until tomorrow night for the Week 9 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday, you've been watching Wednesday Night Madness right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio. So long, and bye, everybody. Bye.